Prussia is now a great power, recognized the world over as a capable and even dangerous state whose influence and capabilities grow by the day. Many continue to dream of a united Germany, and Bundeskanzler Otto von Bismarck is slowly helping to make this come true. A war declared on the House of Hanover, who have been far too close to the British, is at the end of its tenure, putting the Prussian government one step closer towards Germanic unity. Yet across the border, the French continue to grow more hostile, fearing the power that our nation no longer hides. In Africa, our colonies grow by the day, and our markets are full of the goods from the Empire of Siam who benefit from our union. Truly, prosperity and stability define the future of Prussia. Yet as the unification of Germany comes closer, so too does a global war, as battle lines are beginning to be drawn. The last great conflict saw Europe burn, but the tools of war European nations now wield, another could be unimaginable. This is the 4th episode of a Victoria 3 roleplay multiplayer game. Leave a subscribe if you enjoy. This game uses the Babylon roleplay mod developed to bring flavor and RP to Victoria 3 and is linked in the description. I also stream all sessions on Twitch, Sundays at 2 PM EST. Let's get going. The war will be over for us very soon though, at least with Hanover. At least to get those territories, which will allow us to form the Northern German Confederation. In order to form full-on Germany, we'll need to take a bunch more territory. So I did have some interesting RP before the game started. We were approached by a coalition of American countries to help support them against the United States, as well as potentially the French, because they are allies with each other. Okay, what we were doing, we were building up our arms industry because I planned to go to war with France. We can't do that now. We're not strong enough. We will get absolutely stomped by them. 50, we're going to become one of the major glass producers of the world. When that's done, we're going to transition to working on engines and steel. We want to become an industrial exporter. We'll keep lowering our infamy. When our infamy is below 15 again, I'm going to do some more plays to take more of these minor states in Germany. RP-wise, basically what has happened is I'd been doing a narrative kind of throughout the game that like the people in those countries had been like supporting German unification and German nationalism, which was true historically in Germany in this time period and even prior to this. There were a number of like revolts and popular uprisings and general sentiment for united Germany. We really have to do something about our massive deficit. Now we are outscaling it because our economy is growing quickly, but the issue is the radicals and all the taxes that we have, which are really not good for our country. The aged Wilhelm Johann, the leader of the industrialists, has unexpectedly expired mid-campaign, robbing the Free Conservative Party of a cornerstone politician. The question of his replacement is now on everyone's lips. I'm gonna random character for it.
Sir Bismarck.
Greetings.
I am happy to hear that you've recovered after your horrific and diabolical assassination attempt.
We were never able to determine who that radical was, probably one of the leftists or a French spy. Regardless.
Yeah, I have my finest men working on it. If he even enters the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, we will have him. I wanted to reaffirm with Russia the current state of affairs. They still want to go after the Ottoman Empire, and as they are allied to France, I think I've reaffirmed your claims that you'd like Alsace-Lorraine as well as the Yemen, Oman region.
I'm in a bit of a tough spot here, I'm going to be honest. There had been a plan to incorporate a number of the minor Germanic states into our government without bloodshed, but it appears that the aristocrats and loyalists are digging in. Perhaps they're getting assurances from the French, we're not sure why. But it will require more work here in
No, of course, we completely understand. We just wanted to let you know that should France or take any action towards you, you will have obviously the support of the Austrian Empire and the Russian Empire.
That's very good to hear, and we are glad that we still do not have to, for now at least, worry about our back.
I shall leave you be. Enjoy your growing kingdom.
I think we're actually the #1 producer of groceries, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look. No, we're second. We're right behind the British. Yeah, electronics. We'll produce a few of those as well. We'll make 10 to start off with. Start to provide as many telephones as we can for military service for the government, and then if there's an excess for the civilian population. An officer in our African colonies has intentionally provoked a confrontation with the Dinka. Despite instructions to keep the peace, we can either save face by going along with the officer's plot or recall him and admit that we lost control of the situation. Where the hell is that? Well, we'll go ahead. We're not going to pretend that we don't have our officer staff under control, so. Rudolf Hoffman, leader of the intelligentsia and a well-known opponent of the global slave trade, argues that our colonial ambitions in Equatoria should be leveraged towards ending the practice in the continent. That seems reasonable. Our government is very anti-slavery and anti-serf. We'll send a small contingent under Brigadier Nicholas von Holstein-Guttorp to fight with the Dinka in our colonies in Africa. We also still have to fight for the rest of these territories. They also are our claims colonially that we got in the Conference of Berlin. General Nicholas von Holstein-Gottorp of the dedicated machine gun teams of the Kingdom of Prussia versus Dinka Wars yielded advantageous results on the battlefield, leaving full platoons of enemies dead before they have even reached their lines. Our growing use of submarines in warfare has created a new generation of commanders, exemplified by the likes of Adalbert Umsteden, who understand the nature of underwater warfare very well. Naval invasion is successful. We are landing in Zanzibar and dealing with the rebels there, part of our ongoing conflict. When we're done with this, we're going to continue to train our military in the modern warfare systems that it's using. We've integrated a lot of very sweeping, drastic changes, obviously, for the Prussian military, and we're going to test it. And we're going to do that by conquering the rest of Ethiopia, which I've been putting off for quite some time. So a couple of deals that I also should let you guys know that I made during the past week that will not get talked about formally here. One, we have a deal with the Austrians and the Russians to back a war against the Ottomans, where we've been promised Yemen and Oman. Two, we have a deal with the Mexicans and the Brazilians, where in exchange for helping them with the war with the Americas, we've been offered French Guiana, which is here. And in addition to that, we've been basically promised that any and all trade that they would need with Europe will come through us. So we have an exclusive trading deal with Mexico and Brazil in exchange for cooperation. So just a heads up. We've discovered that our rivals in France are arming their Turkana natives in Equatoria. This is likely to impede our efforts to conquer the region. We're gonna exacerbate. Don't ask me how, but electricity made in Guangzhou in China will go to Germany. It's one of the features that definitely needs to be changed in the future. All that art is really useful for getting our people who are wealthy to become much wealthier. All right, we've won the war in Africa. Let's also go ahead and start to take a few of these states. We'll send Brigadier Nicholas von Holstein-Gottorp again.
To the Prussian government.
Greetings, I am the Bundeschancellor. We've spoken many times, Ambassador. What brings you to my office?
This is Juan, the Brazilian representative for the Brazilian Secret Service.
One of my generals made me aware of the deal that he had made with your government, and we are fully ready to stand behind it. Now, is it looking like the French will involve themselves in this war directly?
It's unknown because their pact has been broken. So we are not sure. However, I would like to also say that the Dutch are also on our side.
We basically promised to back a play by the Brazilians and the Mexicans to push out American influence, and we're going to stand behind that. So.
Good day, Sir Bismarck. I am here to tell you that we had recently had a diplomatic encounter with the French, in which we spoke about the mass Vietnamese immigration to our country, which was akin to, well, a great flood of fleeing people. We spoke to the French ambassador, for I believe they no longer have a king. For we were only suggesting that perhaps if they were all fleeing to our country due to their republican beliefs, that perhaps the entire, well, nation of Vietnam would better be under our care. Though we did not threaten war on anything.
Ambassador, please tell me you didn't start a war with the French.
I believe I did not, though tensions have risen considerably.
I am very aware of it. At home in Germany, I do everything I can to try and stop the cries of the people for a war with the French. It's not the time for it. We have so much to do to unite and make our nation strong.
I shall enjoy the tour of your bank, and I shall meet with all your advisors. Thank you very much, and I wish you much success in the coming years.
Combustion engine. We have automobile production now as well. And reconnaissance. Yeah, we're the second biggest producer of coal in the world. When our coal exports become erratic, it's a big problem. Oh, wonderful. We have international exchange standards for our trading is even more competitive now. Let's see if we can free up. We need more coal, really, because that'll allow us to free up more laborers. I think we could probably free up more. Let me look. Any news on who exactly will be involved and who will not?
It's looking like the United Kingdom will be getting involved. We still have no idea about France. They're a bit of a closed book to us at the moment. We don't really have access to...
If both the French and the British join, I will not be able to win that war. Do you have other European powers who would involve themselves at that point?
So as well as me, Mexico, you will have the support of Austria, the Netherlands, Spain, and Portugal.
We will have to pray to God for the best, I suppose. Oh, fucking it. We'll send Major Karl von Hindenburg The War of She-Will will give us access to another 1 million workers, which is really important. A group of Christian missionaries want to bring the salvation of the gospels to our people in Equatoria. Absolutely.
Hello, Germany.
Hello there, what can I do for you?
Have you heard what the Brazilians have declared to the world? They say that you've created an alliance between yourself, Spain, Portugal, Austria, Bavaria, and implying something about Mexico and Brazil to be a part of it?
Yeah, so what we have done is we have cooperated with the Brazilians and the Mexicans. There's been an issue of the Americans breaking treaties in the regions. We were approached to give aid, and we will, of course, do so if we are asked.
Yes, we were. This confuses us a bit. Is we have offered to mediate these treaty disputes with Mexico and the United States, and they have flatly refused to deal with us in any way.
As far as I'm aware, that's because America dishonored agreements which should have already been in effect long ago, and it's kind of well past that.
The United States is insinuating to us that this alliance will be used to kick us out of Central America and the Caribbean.
Was there anything that suggested that?
None other than the United States.
As we were not made aware of anything like that ourselves, so as far as I'm aware, that is not the case.
As you are aware, we can pull Cuba and Canada out of this deal and speak to the United States about giving the land back, but we do not wish to be threatened.
I don't think any fears here. Prussia has no desire to waste her military and naval strength on a war with United Kingdom, which, although we think we would certainly be able to hold our own in, would be disastrous to our military and economy. And I hope Britain would feel the same.
Yes.
Yeah, so we would just like to say we would also like to pursue a diplomatic resolution for this matter. We have been trying for over 2 decades now to resolve this internally and diplomatically with the United States diplomats. However, they just seem unwilling to have any want or capacity to be able to make these payments. And we have also offered a diplomatic resolution to this. We have asked that we have made a land survey of different states across the region. The United States has paid $23 million of the total 75 million pounds. 23 million pounds of the total 75 million pounds. And we did a land survey of the states of Kansas and Colorado, which value them of the areas that the Mexican Empire had sold to the United States, and we valued these lands at 23 million pounds. In that case, we have offered a very reasonable diplomatic solution in which we would cede those territories, Colorado and Kansas, rightfully.
We
In that
wish
case,
to be a part of the mediation as well, though, because as we have said that we are willing to help finance a deal.
I think what we've come to agree though is that unless what the Mexican government is asking for is given, the mediation is over. Yeah, the issue is that this has been going on. This might be new for you gentlemen, but this issue for Mexico and America has been going on for about 20 years.
Well, first of all, I would like to discuss this with Austria privately.
I'm afraid you have currently walked into a military coalition meeting.
If that,
we also would like to, as a firm ally of the Austrian Empire, would like to know why this pertains to an issue that was settled at the conference regarding Asia.
Yes, it may be settled, but it was circumvented and navigated in a way that was not agreed upon.
So France is actively contending the Austrian control of the Japanese Tokugawa shogunate?
No, we are not contending their control. We are contending.
what is the issue?
Wait, this is not the issue right now. I wish to speak with the Austrians.
I will. I attempted to begin negotiations with the United States in good faith. However, they said that they will not back down.
First of all, thank you for inviting us to Vienna, and to the treaty. From what I've received, look, any verbal treaty with the previous king of France, well, we're trying to get the information that was lost. But if I remember, but from what his clerks in the ministry told us, that the agreement was that Japan was to be granted to a great power, and which most of Europe has agreed it would be Austria, but under consensus that it would to conquer it.
Not necessarily, as long as it falls under the suzerain of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire and that it was able to be traded with.
They don't need your agreement And it would be nice if we could get you to walk away from this understanding that France does not have the right to project any influence in that region. But Prussia feels it important to point out the fact that we're all gathered here under a circumstance in which we reject utterly. That is, that you have some right in this conversation when it was already agreed upon by the powers of Europe.
Okay.
Russia Russia's statement.
We
Alright.
understand that the change of leadership within your nation can be a tough one, and that facts and treaties and agreements may get lost, and we accept that. However, the Prussians are right. As much as you can disagree and say you don't like it and want to change things, it's too late. It's not going to happen. Japan will remain under Austrian agreement as per the treaty they have signed, which was signed diplomatically and not by force. So, unless you want to escalate this matter,
Are
then I
you
think the
suggesting you're going to
conversation
start
is
a
over.
war here, France? Because that's the only situation here.
Okay,
where I think
okay,
any of us
okay.
need
I had to
listen
stop you
this.
right there, sir. I allow you all to speak, all three of you to speak. I wish to interrupt, but it is impolite, especially as our previous king was such a imbecile who refuses to understand diplomacy.
A
But
common theme
this
of French leadership,
delegation-
indeed.
This. These clips will not be forgotten. This delegation wishes to express discontent and disapproval. Of course, anything against French sovereignty and its hegemony over the
You
globe.
have
right?
have a habit of taking advantage and forcing people under your whims, such as the occupation of Alsace-Lorraine. We want to make sure that you're not going to do it further to friends of ours.
Excuse me, sir. This is not the right time. This is not the
No,
right time to
fast
speak of that.
walk.
We can
There's
find.
never a right time for
We
the
can-
people that you put under your boot.
This is what I feared. I only wanted to ask to clarify the specified treaty, and you've only come here with aggression, hostility, and nothing else. This
There's
is
nothing to clarify.
told
By
you
clarifying, that is
previously.
the
aggression
great
in
powers
itself.
of Europe.
Yes.
This is not civilized.
The conversation has been had. I've told you exactly what has happened. I've told you what was
Yes.
agreed,
We.
and I see then no further need for conversation. If you're going to debase
okay,
yourself,
okay,
I
so
hear
now-
nothing but the
Not
yappy
about
of the
that.
French
I did not
mongrel.
start this damn debate. You,
Okay.
I did not
Perhaps the
accuse you,
escargot
Austria.
has clouded his mind. They're strange people, the French.
Clearly, the Prussian has drank too much beer and got drunk off his.
Damn
shitty
right. We
wheat.
enjoy our life, unlike just whatever the fuck you're doing with Paris.
this is what happens when you try and speak to Republicans and their attitudes. It just debases themselves. They only want things. They don't even understand diplomacy. Incorrect.
Yeah.
You illegally met with diplomats who don't have any authority of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. They've since been arrested because they've been conducting treasonous acts.
Were accepted in Austria, and yet it seems that you are free to arrest any Hungarians that you deem are dissidents, quote unquote, to your nation, and I think that that is extremely offensive.
Of course.
So I
We
want
are.
to clarify something. The Ottoman Empire, the nation known for the enslaving, subjugation, pillaging of every country that remotely has bordered them in human history, is complaining about the rights of the people of Austria. Am I getting this correct?
Yeah, this is correct. I don't know where he's coming from.
The Austrian people who
They,
have
they
also
say
been-
that there's no humor in politics, but this
And I
clearly
should
shows that
add,
not to be
have
the case.
prevented the Ottomans from banning slavery within the nations of Wallachia and Moldavia because they are
I'm
guaranteeing
sure the
their
mass graves found all throughout the Balkans will feel much better about that.
To be fair, that is shared between the Austrians as well, is it not?
Killing the invading
There-
Turks
there's
is
no-
not a crime.
So the Croats,
no evidence
Serbs,
of this.
Romanians
No
are all
record.
invaders then?
Actual
Is
order.
this so funny, don't you think, Ottomans? How a Prussian boy, instead of learning how to farm, he learns how to take a stick and beat other people with it? It's clearly an
it's-
uncivilized.
At least my
I feel
country's
you've
not
never
full of
visited a
sodomites.
farm. This is true. The French cannot talk about how they treat their citizens.
Are we seeing your stagnant population growth? Is that due to all the sodomy in Paris, Ambassador?
I believe it has something to do with the
Such
incest
high
rampant in the
luxury
country.
with good education and workers' protections. Oh no!
Regarding the future, it is quite clear that we have a war on the horizon with the French and the Ottomans. I will be honest, jokes aside, the Ottomans have proven themselves to become shockingly powerful very quickly. And
Yeah.
we most certainly need to have a cutting down of size, I think, there.
We have been saying this for years. How many meetings have we been in when I've told you that their growth is scary, and it won't be long before they're asking to kick down the doors, and they're trying to speak of dissolution of the Austrian Empire? Could you believe such a thing? But
Well,
no, I'm glad
I
you
must
finally
say,
understand.
I fully understand. I will be telling the Bundeskanzler when I'm back in Berlin of this. He already has been moving in that direction himself. Though he is not looking for a war until obviously we are fully unified. But that being said, I can assure you from my own government that you have our full backing for a proper conflict here. And given the danger that is present, Prussia will be happy to provide any resources needed.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that, because the Ottoman and French threat is something that can't be ignored. They look like they're carving up Africa to be for their own.
The grand opening of the Berlin Metropolitan Railway is received with much celebration. In a speech, the king congratulated the engineers who made this possible. An officer in our African colonies has intentionally provoked a confrontation with the Mangbidu, despite instructions to keep the peace. Well, we'll go alongside what he's doing. Him and a bunch of Jingoists have started us a war, and by God, we're gonna fucking end it. We want to make sure the countries that we want to align alongside us basically cooperate and get dependent on our market. All of this oil, as soon as we get conveyor belts, will go into our industry, but until then, can we export it? We are no longer subsidizing anything, which is really useful. We have additional expenses due to an event, which will go away. So we're really technically running a surplus right now. We'll go for proportional taxation, if we can pass it. Piss off the industrialists, but we will certainly have all of our money problems solved if we do that. Large number of South-German people have been migrating to our state of Brandenburg. Oh, they're coming from Bavaria. Maybe from Alsace-Lorraine, actually. Hold on. American Civil War? Oh my God, look. Revolutionary America in 78. That's a little late, but goddamn.